Good evening. I'm County Mayor Randy Porter. This is our briefing. We have had a good day. The weather's cooperated. Our power companies have been able to get a lot of progress done, and most of all, we've been able to complete our second search of the area of all the structures that have been involved. We completed our initial search, and then we go back and do a much more thorough search on the second time, and I will let Sheriff Ferris go into that more into depth. There have been no other victims discovered, thankfully, and there have been no other deaths. Our death toll remains at 18 as it was yesterday. Our list of unaccounted for persons is now at 0. We have no reported unaccounted people as of right now. We do stress, though, to your viewers, if you know of someone that you have not been able to make contact with or that you know is missing, please call us at our 931-646-INFO line. That's 931-646-4636. And I'm going to let Sheriff Ferris go ahead and talk about their search and rescue efforts, and then we'll come back to the rest of the briefing. Sheriff.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon. As of 12 o'clock today, our search and rescue had turned into recovery. So that's where we are at this point on that. We will continue our curfew from 7 p.m. till 8 a.m. Law enforcement over the weekend and into next week will continue to have a heavy presence. We'll be doing so with the help of other agencies. Our temporary flight restrictions are still in effect and will be continued in effect until 10 a.m. on Saturday morning. Today we made our second arrest for looting at the location in the affected area. Also, the Tennessee Highway Patrol made their third DUI arrest since we have started this process today in the affected area. And just a side note, law enforcement have took possession of 42 firearms that has been recovered in the debris. We suspect there'll be more. We'll take those in possession and at some point hopefully find the rightful owner.
Thank you, Sheriff. We also, as I said, we've had a good day to be able to get a lot of work done in the damaged area. We have completed our initial assessment also of the structures damaged. We have over 400 residents that have been damaged in some way, shape, or form. That could be from major to minor, and 31 commercial. We have nearly 100 residences that were totally destroyed. These numbers may change and will change some as we get exact numbers as we continue in the assessment. As you know, the damaged area is very severe, and it's taken some time to be able to go through the area and make sure that we have accurate numbers on those. Our power crews have made great progress today. We're replacing poles and lines and transformers. As of right now, Cookeville City Electric is saying they have 25 customers still without power. They are hoping to get most of those restored tonight. Upper Cumberland still has about 1,300 customers. Just realizing that the damage area for Upper Cumberland is much greater than what it was for the city of Cookeville, and much more area to cover, and much more as far as damage goes to their poles and their lines. They're working around the clock. They had a very good day today, and just remember they started out with 5,500 customers damaged to start with, so they've made some great progress. The power companies have asked that we put out that people that still do not have power, that their homes are damaged to where that they may not be livable, or that they've got problems that could occur should power come back on. They ask that they cut their main breakers off in their electrical boxes. We don't want someone's home that is damaged, power be restored to it, and there be a fire started. So please turn off your main breakers if your homes have been damaged. We're also asking folks that if you are using portable generators at your homes, make sure your main breaker is turned off. We do not want any of our power company workers to be harmed, and they could be if that power back feeds into the transmission lines. As Sheriff Ferris said, our curfew is going to be back on again tonight. That is for the damaged area only. We still have about 20 people that remain in our Red Cross shelter. That number has increased today. The shelter will remain open. It is at the Cookeville First Baptist Church here on Walnut Street. And anyone needing shelter that was in the affected area, that have damaged homes, they can go and stay there. Our distribution center and everything is still open, providing food and water and supplies and everything to folks. That's at the Cookeville Community Center. We are expanding our hours at our landfill and garbage transfer station. We will be open 7 days a week for the near future. Starting tomorrow, they will be open from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and the residences and private haulers can take their construction waste and debris and so forth down to the landfill on Cookeville Boat Dock Road. Our garbage transfer station on South Jefferson Avenue will also be extended hours from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. for normal garbage. Water service should be restored to most of the customers in the area, especially I don't think Cookeville had that many customers without water, but Double Springs Utility District had some lines that were damaged. Those customers should all have water now. There is a boil notice in effect, though, for the customers inside the Double Springs Utility District. They are asking until the water samples that have been tested, until they get those test results back, that people please boil their water. We have hundreds of volunteers that are wanting to come, and we have been overwhelmed with the help. I know folks are frustrated when it comes to not being able to come in and get into the area and help. We're going to ask that we have one more day tomorrow for the power companies and our emergency personnel to continue to work in that area. The power companies are still putting in new poles and stringing lines and putting on new transformers. It makes the area very dangerous for us to have volunteers in. So we will ask for one more day for those folks to wait and to come in and volunteer. And I'm going to have more on volunteers that we'll do at the end of the press briefing. I'm going to turn it over now to Mayor Shelton to talk about some of our other areas.
Thank you. Good afternoon. We have been very blessed with the amount of donations of goods and services and food and as well money. As we said yesterday, we had established the Cookeville Putnam County Tornado Relief Fund. That is up and going. There are actually 5 ways now that we have set up to donate to that. You can donate through at any of the 19 locations of Bank of Putnam County. We have an opportunity to donate through Venmo, also through PayPal. You can text Cookeville Help to 41444. That's Cookeville Help to 41444. And you can text your donation to that. And then finally, and then probably most importantly, is the PutnamCountyTN.gov. And when you go to PutnamCountyTN.gov, that opens up our entire fundraising page. And so I can tell you, we're very blessed at this moment. The total is over $125,000 as we speak, and so we're very thankful for that. That's less than 24 hours, and we've been contacted by many places and corporate citizens and organizations that intend to help in the very near future. So we expect that to continue to rise. As we said, the 100% of these monies will go back to the affected victims. Also, we still have our help now at PutnamCountyTN.gov. If you have any problems, issues, you want to donate something, goods and services at some point, we'll need even more of that next week. And then the information line that has been active always is still 931-646-4636. Again, I would just say thank you to everyone who has reached out to us. We talked about this yesterday. We've received thousands of messages If we haven't gotten back to you, it's certainly not because we don't want to. It's literally working through all the processes of the emails and the text messages and the direct messages on our social media sites. And so we'll continue to do that, and we try to get those to the proper people so that you can then be contacted for whatever you're desiring to do. So again, PutnamCountyTN.gov opens up and gets you to all of our donation sites. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor Shelton. We also have our representative for Putnam County, Mr. Ryan Williams, here with us. Ryan, would you like to say something?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor Porter. First of all, I want to just say thank you to Mayor Porter and Sheriff Ferris and Mayor Shelton for the hard work that you've been doing the last few days. Not only you, but behind us are dozens of people behind this wall who are making things happen across this community, and it's great to see what's going on here. Senator Bailey and I have been in Nashville working diligently to see what we can do to offer tax relief, work with TEMA, General Holmes, and the National Guard. I know those guardsmen showed up, additional guardsmen showed up today, which was a request by these three gentlemen. We'd like to thank R.C. Christian and his Captain Christian and the THP for all their service and work as they work today diligently to try to get those things done. I do want to say, though, that one of the most amazing things to me is that this has been a huge impact to our local community. But even when Senator Bailey and I were in Nashville, we had businesses and community partners from all over the state who literally are standing with the checkbook in hand, waiting to contribute to these accounts, waiting to love on their volunteer friends from all across the state. And so I'm very hopeful, Mayor Shelton, Mayor Porter, that you're going to see additional resources continue to come, those from large corporations who have made great investments in our community because they understand the volunteer spirit and how we want to rebuild these foundations that were shaken in our community. And so, you know, what we're going to get to see is the hard work that these people have laid a groundwork for us to do that'll allow the volunteers to come over this weekend from literally all over the state and surrounding states. And so we're really excited to do that. And we just ask that the people of this community be patient with us and with the process. It's a very tedious one that has been very difficult for them. I know that they have received thousands of text messages and emails, and I have too, and I've not returned any either, as much as I probably should. But we have a great community here, and as I met today with people who were injured and people who were still bruised from this event, we were able to encourage them, much like I've said before, you know, God was not in this tornado, but he has been in our response. And so we're really excited to see that really come to fruition in the next few days, weeks, and months as we get back to what it is we do here in Putnam County. So thank you, Mayor Porter, and thank you, Sheriff and Mayor Shelton. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. I'd like to talk a little bit about our volunteer plan that we're going to be working on and putting out sometime tomorrow. The outpouring from our volunteers, not only from just general people, we were at Tennessee Tech, Mayor Shelton and I were this morning, and 1,000 tech students that are wanting to volunteer, and a lot of those were on the site Tuesday. And I know there's some frustration with folks that they feel like they're all wanting to volunteer and wanting to help, and we got companies wanting to bring in equipment and so forth. But our number one priority had to be search and rescue of that area to make sure that we had everyone accounted for. Having all those folks in there was hampering that work, and we just couldn't. We had to change. We had to bring those volunteers out and allow us to complete our search. Once that's happened now and we're able to complete our assessments and power companies finish working tomorrow, our plan is to allow volunteers to come in on Saturday, to begin on Saturday. It has to be a very planned and organized response, though. We had now numbers are saying 2,566 volunteers here Tuesday that signed up or that actually went to the area and was trying to help. A lot of folks went into the area, us not even knowing about it. That will not be allowed coming up on the days that we're going to allow volunteers in. You're going to have to come, you're going to have to register, you're going to have a special armband, and that be organized, because if we get too many people in the area, we're not doing any good. Folks are walking over the top of each other, and so we want it to be very organized. So if you'll be very patient with us, we'll be putting out details of our volunteer plan tomorrow. We'll plan on that starting Saturday morning, probably about around 8 a.m. We asked again that you please do not show up to these areas. Sheriff Ferris and City Police and THP have a very large police presence in that area, and we're keeping the area cordoned off so that we can protect the citizens' belongings that lived in there and their property. And we just have to remember that the property is private property, and we need the people that own the property and that is damaged to be able to give the okay and authority for folks to be able to go in and work on that. We also have a lot of contractors that are wanting to come in with heavy equipment. We will have a plan that we will release tomorrow also for that. They will have some kind of special placard that we have on the equipment or on the trucks as they go in to be able to get in. We've had a tremendous outpouring of food vendors and folks that are wanting to come in and cook for our workers, and we are so grateful for that. We have had so many, though we're overwhelmed. The one thing we don't want to do is waste food and have people coming in and cooking and that food not being eaten. So we are scheduling those vendors and those cookers a day to come in, and so that we make sure our people are fed, our volunteers will be fed, and so that is being organized here through the Emergency Operations Center. Just remind everyone, this is going to be a multi-week, month process. It's not going to happen overnight. We have made some major progress. Our community is very strong. We have a great bunch of emergency responders, law enforcement, county, city employees, power companies that have worked night and day since the storm happened early Tuesday morning around 2 a.m. We are so thankful to all those employees and all those people that have done everything. We are so grateful and thankful for our community for everything they have done and all the outpouring. We thank you so much. We just ask that you keep all the families that are still mourning, and they're going to have funerals over the next several days of their loved ones. You keep them in your prayers. I'll open it up for questions now if anyone has any questions.
Can you talk about President Trump's visit?
No, ma'am.
Are you glad he's coming?
Absolutely. If he does, we would welcome him with open arms.
I have a question.
Yes.
I wondered, of the people who are still being hospitalized, are they expected to recover, or what's their condition?
As far as we know, and we don't have definite details on each patient because you start getting into HIPAA violations with the actual status of those patients, but as far as we know, all the patients that were treated are still alive, but we do not know the status of their health right now.
Do you know how many remain hospitalized?
We do not. Here again, we get into HIPAA violations with that, so we're not. We have to be. There's certain things that we just can't share. Other questions?
Do you know how many people survived the damaged and destroyed structures?
No. There's no way to tell how many people actually lived in each one of the structures. When you take and look at that number of damaged structures, I mean, it had to be in the thousands, but we don't know. There's no way for us to estimate that. Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell us more about the looters?
Sure.
Well, the arrest was made today on a looter that was attempting to steal copper from one of the houses. Yes, ma'am.
And what about, you mentioned there were 2 arrests?
Well, there were arrests earlier in the week, and that person was also hadn't took anything in his possession, but was filtering through other people's property and things that had been damaged, and was not did not have permission to be on the location and site.
What kind of charges are you filing?
Criminal trespassing.
Other questions?
Can you tell us about
about the process and where you are at in the process of putting a dollar figure on the damages to the county?
That is working through Tennessee Emergency Management Agency and FEMA. FEMA arrived yesterday. We'll be doing those assessments. That is part of the process that we work through, where we actually go to each individual damaged, whether it be a home or a business. We get those counted. Each site is then visited to try to assess, is it completely destroyed, what the level of damage is, and that will be an estimation that will be done through the assessment. We're also in the process, and that may have happened today, of a flyover. We use GIS mapping, and we'll be able to use a flyover to compare as to what it looked like before the storm and what it looks like now, and we'll use all of that in our assessments to come up with a dollar figure. Just realize that that's going to be a multi-day process. Lots of folks are involved in that. Lots of technology is being used to do that, including drones and other things. So it may be a few days before we're able to give you that estimate.
You mentioned there were 0 people right now reported unaccounted for.
Yes, sir.
We've been watching, of course, that number has been going up and down over the last couple days. Can you talk a little more about that process? Because we were even seeing today, one name would be reported, and then within a minute or two even, they would be located and found.
So if you could see behind this wall, the large facility that we have here at the Emergency Operations Center, we've got probably 100 people, close to 100 people over there. At any given time, they are working. We have a group that's their job. When the info line, someone calls in and gives us that name, not only do they start working on it, we have the TBI command post here, and they start working with us, law enforcement. It's a process of a group of folks working. We start trying to contact family members, putting out messages to our school system to see if they have children there. It's not just one anything that you can put your finger on, but a whole group of people working together. So we may find out within 5 minutes that person, we've located them. It may take hours. And then what happens, and what has happened since we started this process is that we probably had close to 100 when we started, and it has fluctuated up and down, and it's hit 0 several times today, and then it's went back up as more people have called in. It still could fluctuate. We're just asking everyone to, as we've been putting out to you at each press conference and through all of our social media and websites, if you know of someone that you have not been able to contact that could possibly have been involved in this, please call us. We want to make sure that everyone is accounted for, and if there's someone out there that's still missing or that has been unaccounted for, we need to know about it, because we will do our best to try to find them.
Can you take me through the process for when it's a federal disaster area and the 25% that would be on the local
Sure.
operations? And how much have the number of volunteers that you've had to this point may help with that?
Sure. When it comes, if we're declared, we'll understand that the request is possibly on the president's desk by now. We're waiting to hear back from him as whether we're declared or not. If we're declared, he will announce what that percentage is. It could be 75%, it could be 80, 90, whatever that is. Normally it's 75%. That means the federal government is going to reimburse us for 75% of the cleanup cost, and our cost has been associated with the search and rescue and all those kind of things. Then the state normally will pay 12.5% to reimburse us, so we're up to 87.5%. Then the other 12.5% is on the city or the county government, whichever one it is. What we can do is those volunteers, as they come in and volunteer, we have to keep up with every hour that they volunteer. We can actually count those volunteer hours towards our 12.5% that we would have to pay as part of those costs. It's a very tedious process. We do our best to keep up with all those. That's the reason that our volunteer plan has to be very organized, because we can't have it like it was Tuesday, because you have all these people showing up that we didn't know about, and we can't record those. So they're actually, as much as they want to help, and we appreciate their help, if they will go through our process, we can actually count their time, and it will help us to save taxpayer dollars. So that's the way it works when in a FEMA declaration. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, and that's not just at the site, correct? That's
No.
volunteers at the community center. everywhere
Yes.
around town.
Anything that organizations that are helping us, our distribution center that we have, the Cookeville Community Center, all those can be counted also.
I have a viewer that wants to know if the people that are staying in hotels,
Mhm.
do they need funding for that? Does people need, do they need it like today?
There are a lot of the hotel rooms are being taken up by folks that have been displaced from the storm. We've actually had people calling in today wanting to volunteer to pay for some of those hotel rooms. So if there's anyone out there that wants to do that, they can contact us through the help now at putnamcountytn.gov, and that would be great if they'd like to do that. Our hotelers, I have to sing their praises some too. They've been giving special rates to those folks. We've had to bring in some special people to be involved with us, and they've gave special rates to those folks, and we're so thankful for that. From what I understood earlier, most of the hotel rooms are booked. We don't know how long that will last and how many of those people are here volunteering or involved in this, or how many are just traveling through and have booked those rooms. But we know we have several people that have been displaced in the hotel rooms.
Mr. Mayor, you talked about how you were almost overwhelmed with the amount of volunteers. Can you talk a little bit more about that and kind of the need for, do you need more volunteers this weekend, or kind of are people ready to go? Talk to me about kind of what you guys are hearing from people who are ready to volunteer.
So I have been flooded. I know Mayor Shelton and Sheriff Farris and all of us have been flooded with people wanting to volunteer. We have a lot of specialized organizations that are coming in that travel across the country doing this. We will be working with those organizations and trying to team up the volunteers with those people. These people are trained. They do this on probably sometimes on a weekly basis as they have disasters across the country. Our goal is to try to group those people together and have teams. We are so appreciative of the volunteers, but we have to have it organized. If we are able to organize it, we can get a lot of work completed this coming weekend. That's the goal, is on Saturday and Sunday to do a lot of the volunteers. But that's not going to be the end. It will be next week. It will be the week after next. Even after we get the debris all cleaned up, which will take several weeks, then the rebuilding process starts. Habitat for Humanity has already contacted me about wanting to be involved in that. We have a lot of the folks that is it Samaritan's Purse, a lot of these organizations that come in and help rebuild. We will be working with those folks to organize that. And I have to say I've had a lot of companies that have contacted us wanting to donate construction supplies, wanting to donate light fixtures, all kinds of things, furniture for folks that have lost everything. We're looking to try to set up some kind of warehouse space to be able to hold that in. And then once we work through this tornado relief fund, that be part of that to help get items out to people that have lost those and that are in need of those.
Can you address what the schools are doing?
The schools are actually having daycare in the schools for any of the parents that were affected, families affected in the storm. We put out a list of those schools to you last night. That's on our social media and websites. They have been taking and doing child care at those schools for those families, which I understand has been a big success. They also are taking donations at some of the schools, and we're using some of the schools to house some of the supplies and donations we have received. Jefferson Avenue Church of Christ, our distribution center. There's several places out there that just have gymnasiums and rooms full of supplies. It has been absolutely amazing at the generosity of the businesses and people across not only our community here in Putnam County, but across the state and across the United States, that what they have been willing to give. It's just, words cannot speak our gratitude for all those people that are trying to donate. The problem we're running into is having space to store all that stuff, and we don't want to take stuff that we're not going to be able to distribute out to the people. So there's going to be a point that we're going to have to kind of cut that off, and there may be other areas in the country that may need it worse than we do. We'll just have to play that by ear as we go through the days. We've been giving out a lot of it, but we don't want to have more than we can give out.
question again from a viewer. They wanted to know, when would drivers, when would just regular people coming through with their cars be allowed to come through the areas that are blocked off now?
Sheriff, you want to talk about that?
Well, we feel like the Highway 70 will certainly be blocked off and closed till most likely the middle of next week at the minimum. The power companies, as the mayor's mentioned, are still out working, and that's obviously a safety issue, and so we're trying to address that. And then after that, we have the dump trucks and all the other heavy equipment that'll be coming in that needs to be moved around. So, and a lot of pickup. I think I mentioned this in one of the first press conferences, but when we initially arrived out there, we actually were having so many flat tires, we had to ask for maintenance to go out and start trying to help us change tires on first responders. So there's a lot of things we have to do before we open the road back up.
Other questions? We want to try to get you all the information we possibly can. That's one thing we want to try to do, is be as transparent as we possibly can. I hope we have done that. If you have questions in between these briefings, please make sure you get in contact with us. We have several PIOs in our Emergency Operations Center that will try to get you answers as soon as possible.
Do you think the schools will reopen next week?
My guess is they will reopen Monday. I can't answer that for the schools director. I can't speak for him, but my guess is that will happen. We will have to see as things progress over the next few days and see how everything goes. Okay, we're going to put out our volunteer plans tomorrow. We are not going to schedule another press briefing as of right now. It will depend on how things go tomorrow. We don't want to bring you in if we don't have information for you. Our guess is that we will have a briefing sometime tomorrow, hopefully sometime tomorrow afternoon, but we will let you know hopefully tomorrow as we see how things go. But just remember, if you have questions or need stuff, well, please contact us and we'll try to get you the information as soon as possible. Anybody else? Thank you so much. We appreciate you.